What's up everybody, welcome back. So just a quick video to show you what you need to do to migrate the turret into another project. I've talked about this a little bit in episode number 5 I think, but in case you didn't follow that one, here's a proper explanation. And we'll also do a video to migrate the turret into the multiplayer game project. So if you migrate it into an actual full game project where you have damage and weapons and things like that set up, there's a few extra things you might need to take a look at. So if you want an example for that, make sure to check out the next video in the series as well. So let's start migrating our turret. So over here I have my finished turret project, and I also have a default third-person project where I'm going to migrate the turret into. So the first thing we want to do, if we want to migrate it and we have our C++ class added, we want to reparent the turret to make sure it's not bound to our C++ class anymore. So with this simple C++ file, that's just the easiest and fastest way to migrate it. So we're going to go and open the turret and go to the class settings, and over here for the parent class we want to change it back to our default character class. So not the perception character, we're gonna have some data loss, that's fine. And then we're gonna save it again. So now that we have reparented it, we can simply right click, do migrate. So we need to save the project. And currently it will only migrate the turret folder, so there's no other references in the project, so that's a good thing. So we're simply gonna hit OK and then migrate it into our new project. So let me navigate to that should be my project over here, and then in the content folder hit OK, and it will simply start migrating. So that shouldn't take too long. There we go, that's good to go. Now all of a sudden here the blueprints disappeared, but that's not really an issue. So if we click on the folders a few times, they reappear. We might want to make sure that we go into our turret over here and parent it back again to our perception character just in case. So let's do that first. Change the class back to the perception character, and then in the class defaults you need to make sure that you re-enter the socket name for the perception character to make sure that is working again. So now we can close our current turret project and we can move on to our new project. So that's the empty project, and over here we already have the turret in game. Now the first thing we need to do is actually set up our DefaultGame.ini. So we want to go into the actual project folder. Let me get that over here. And we also want to close down the project in Unreal. So we need to go to the root folder of the project and then go to the config folder and open our DefaultGame.ini. And that's over here. And in there we need to add the lines for the perception. So we're going to paste in these two lines. Auto register all pawns as source is false. So you should be able to see it. You want to add these two lines to the DefaultGame.ini, and then we're simply going to save it and reopen the editor. So it's opening on my other monitor. Bear with me for a sec. There we go. So now that we have that part set up, at this point, if you want the C++ added, you want to create the C++ class in the new project. So you can go to Tools, add a new C++ class, create the perception character, add the 5 or 6 lines of code, and then reparent the turret to the new C++ class. So in this case, I'm not going to do it. You can simply follow part 5 of the series, and that'll explain you how to do it. Shouldn't be more than 3 or 4 minutes work. And after you did that, you need to go into the character. So into your character for the project you're migrating it into. And you need to make sure that for the components of the character, you add the perception stimuli component. So perception stimuli source, add this one. And you want to make sure that over here you set auto register as source to be enabled, and you want to add the side perception over here. So you're going to add one sense over here, click the plus sign, and then make sure you set it to the AI sense side. So this will make sure that the character will be perceived by the turret over here in the controller. So every character that has a stimuli component will be perceived by the perception and will automatically be set as a target for the turret. So that way it should work. So that's really all you need to do to migrate it into a project. And if you go into the turret, by default it's set up to respond to point damage and radial damage. So you can simply use the built-in damage systems from Unreal to set up damaging the turret. So now we can simply go into the viewport, and if we drag it into the map, so we might want to rotate it, and then it should work. So if we hit play, there we go, and we have a working turret that's firing at us. So it's compiling shaders, that's why not everything is showing up. There we go. So yeah, that's really all you need to do. I'm gonna walk over damaging the turret and setting up all kinds of more project specific things in the next video, where we will migrate it into the multiplayer project. So as I mentioned again, if you're interested in a more detailed setup for an actual game project, make sure to check out that video. Thanks for watching everybody. Talk to you later. Bye bye.